Today in New York City, air quality alerts are up because of elevated ozone. Sensitive groups should limit outdoor time and stay hydrated through tonight. I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett.
Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett in New York City. First up, air quality alerts issued for NYC due to elevated ozone levels. The 5 boroughs, parts of the lower Hudson Valley, and several New Jersey counties are under health advisories until 11 p.m. tonight. Ozone here means ground-level ozone, which is the irritating gas that forms when car exhaust and other emissions react in sunlight, not the protective ozone layer high up in the atmosphere. Warm temperatures speed that chemical reaction up. If you're older, a child, or living with asthma or other breathing issues, you know the drill. Limit strenuous outdoor activity, keep meds handy, and drink water. City officials say we could see temperatures pushing toward 90 by evening, and Central Park is forecast to hit around 94 degrees Tuesday and Wednesday. New Jersey will see a similar advisory again tomorrow.
Yeah, that checks out. Hot, stagnant air is like a lid, it traps pollution close to the street. I'm concerned about how these heat and ozone spikes stack up over a summer. It's a reminder to keep street trees healthy, cool down blacktop schoolyards, and keep traffic from idling where people live. Basically, smarter city design can help take the edge off days like this.
Quick why for you. Why does it get worse on hot days? Simple version, sunlight plus heat are the on switch for the chemical reactions in tailpipe emissions, which then form ozone. More sun and heat mean more ozone.
Right. So today, if you can shift workouts indoors or commute a bit earlier or later, that's a solid move. And if you've got a box fan, keep it running. Staying cool reduces stress on your lungs. On a more somber note, next up, third death this year at Rikers Island as woman dies in custody. Rikers Island is the city's main jail complex. Within it, the Rose M. Singer Center is the women's facility. Officials say 41-year-old Rajpati Ramkalawan suffered a medical emergency there and was pronounced dead late Monday morning. The cause of death is under investigation. Mayor Zohran Mamdani called the death a heartbreaking tragedy and pushed for transparency. This is the third death in city custody this year, following the deaths of Barry Cozart in March and John Price earlier this year. Advocates have long criticized Rikers for supervision breakdowns, slow emergency responses, and gaps in medical care. Last year, at least 15 people died in or shortly after leaving city custody.
Keeping it real, any death in custody is devastating because the city is responsible for people's safety once they're inside. We're talking basics here: timely medical attention, consistent supervision, and dignity. Why is it so hard to fix? Part of it is staffing, training, and accountability, all moving pieces that need to click at once. But still, it has to be done.
Yeah. And transparency matters. Clear timelines, thorough independent review, and public reporting can actually save lives by forcing fixes faster. That's worth pushing for.
Staying on the theme of system failures. Next up, outrage as pregnant woman gives birth in Brooklyn court amid system failures. Samantha Randazzo, who was 9 months pregnant, was arrested Sunday evening on a low-level drug charge. She was in NYPD custody, discharged from Coney Island Hospital overnight, and then went into labor at her Brooklyn arraignment court Monday morning. Arraignment is the first appearance where charges are read and bail is discussed. Public defenders say she should have received a desk appearance ticket, which is a notice to come back to court later instead of being held. They also point out that most courthouses don't have on-site medical staff. There's a dispute over whether she was handcuffed while giving birth. Court officials deny that was the case. Either way, a birth in an arraignment courtroom is a stark signal that the system failed a vulnerable person.
Honestly, this one hits different. If medical screening says someone's close to labor, it's common sense to keep them under medical observation. A policy fix could be as basic as no restraints on pregnant people in labor, automatic medical transport if labor is suspected, and default to desk appearance tickets for low-level charges unless there's a real safety risk.
Why wasn't the desk ticket used? The NYPD issues them at a lower rate than many departments upstate, and advocates argue that using them more often would avoid exactly this kind of risk. Real talk, that's a thread worth pulling on in policy talks ahead.
Switching gears. Next up, LIR strike causes chaos for commuters as contract negotiations stall. The Long Island Railroad, the nation's busiest commuter railroad, suspended service for the Monday morning rush after talks with a coalition of unions broke down. About 275,000 daily riders were affected. The MTA rolled out limited shuttle buses during peak hours, but those carried only around 13,000 riders, a tiny fraction of normal ridership. The National Mediation Board, which is the federal agency that helps resolve rail labor disputes, pulled both sides back to the table. Commuters saw gridlock, longer trips, and a lot of uncertainty. The MTA said monthly riders would get prorated refunds. At the core were wages and work rules, the on-the-job procedures that affect schedules and costs.
Update: by Monday night, the MTA and 5 unions announced a tentative deal to end the strike, with phased LIRR service resuming Tuesday at noon. The contract reportedly includes retroactive pay, meaning back pay that makes up for raises missed since 2023, and it runs through July 2027. Details are still to be ratified by union members, but for commuters, relief is finally on the way. Last up, Cross Bronx Expressway Bridge project suspended amid pollution concerns. The New York State Department of Transportation, that's the agency that builds and maintains state roads, paused its plan to repair or replace 5 bridges along the Cross Bronx. Neighbors and local officials in the Bronx pushed back hard, saying the project as designed would effectively widen parts of the roadway and increase traffic and tailpipe pollution in a borough already battling high asthma rates. DOT had already scrapped an elevated diversion road last year after criticism. And earlier this month, debris fell on a connector by the George Washington Bridge and the Cross Bronx, showing these structures do need attention. But advocates like Siddhartha Sanchez of the Bronx River Alliance, a local environmental group, say pushing the roadway closer to homes, some estimates said by about 50 feet near public housing, would worsen exposure to pollutants.
I'm down for the pause. Fixes are necessary, but how we fix matters. You can monitor bridges, do targeted safety repairs, and at the same time redesign with air quality in mind. Think deck coverings, filtration at ventilation points, and no added lanes. That's something to chew on, huh? Infrastructure and health shouldn't be a trade-off in a neighborhood already burdened by traffic. Thanks for listening to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett from New York City.
Have a good one out there. Stay cool, stay safe, and we'll catch you tomorrow.